Chapter 1. The Garage is Enough. From Vision to Venture, the Courage to Begin. In the summer of 1994, the streets of Seattle witnessed the birth of what would become one of the most disruptive companies in history, Amazon. But it didn't begin in a tower, an executive suite, or a Silicon Valley incubator. It began in a modest garage, with a desk made of a door and a vision that was, by all accounts, absurd. Jeff Bezos, a Princeton graduate and a high-ranking executive at D.E. Shaw, had just left a lucrative career to chase what he called the regret minimization framework. His personal philosophy of never wanting to look back and wonder, what if? His plan? To sell books online. To many, this sounded trivial, primitive even. The internet was new. The concept of e-commerce was risky, and Bezos was giving up everything, status, stability, and a seven-figure career, for a dream built on dial-up connections and raw courage. But that's the first lesson every startup founder must learn. You don't need a fortune to start. You need fire. 1. The power of a modest beginning. The garage that housed Amazon's first servers wasn't just a placeholder until something better came along. It was the crucible of innovation. The tiny team, Bezos, his wife Mackenzie, and a few early engineers worked tirelessly, packaging books by hand, creating code, and drafting press releases with unrelenting focus. The tools at their disposal? Crude. The resources? Scarce. The belief? Unshakable. In that garage, the team focused on one simple idea: make it easier to buy books online than in person. That was their singular focus, not becoming the world's largest retailer, not revolutionizing cloud computing, just solving one problem, really well. Every startup today must understand this principle. You don't need a skyscraper to reach the stars. You need a small room with a big dream. Many founders delay starting because they believe they need everything perfectly lined up. Perfect funding, perfect team, perfect branding, perfect tech. But perfection is a myth. What matters is momentum. The garage wasn't a limitation. It was a launch pad. 2. The courage to quit. Bezos made the decision to quit his stable job while driving across the country with his wife. That drive was symbolic, a journey from predictability to possibility. Most people don't leap because they fear the unknown. But Bezos wasn't just leaping blindly. He had done his homework. He had read the report that said the internet was growing at 2,300% per year. He realized something that most others didn't. The timing was now. So ask yourself as a founder, are you clinging to comfort at the cost of your calling? Leaving your job, your safety net, your predictable income? It's terrifying. But true entrepreneurship begins when you value your vision more than your vacation days. There's a pivotal quote in the Everything Store where Bezos says, "I knew that when I was 80, I would never regret trying this, even if I failed. But I might regret not trying." That mindset is your greatest weapon as a founder. When you view regret as more painful than failure, you unlock bravery. And bravery is the seed from which empires grow. 3. Start narrow. Think big. Here's the genius behind Amazon's early strategy. Bezos didn't try to build a mega company overnight. He started with books. Why? Because books offered a massive selection, millions of titles, universal demand. Books are read in every country, culture, and class. Inventory ease, they didn't spoil, were relatively uniform, and could be sourced from distributors without heavy investment. Books were a beachhead, a Trojan horse that allowed Amazon to build infrastructure, trust, and habit in the minds of consumers. This is a critical lesson for startups. Start with the niche. Dominate it. Then expand. Too many entrepreneurs chase 10 ideas, 5 markets, and 3 business models at once. That's a recipe for mediocrity. Startups don't die from lack of opportunity. They die from lack of focus. Bezos understood that. His team obsessed over one thing: being the most customer-friendly, convenient, and affordable online bookstore in the world. Start with one problem, one market, one promise. Do it better than anyone else. Then grow. 4. The execution mindset. One of the key insights from the Everything Store is how Bezos combined vision with relentless execution. He didn't just dream, he did. The Amazon team worked long hours, coded features rapidly, and made customer support a priority from day one. They weren't afraid of rolling up their sleeves. Bezos himself helped pack orders, fix bugs, and answer emails. That humility and hustle defined the early culture of Amazon. Founders today often get trapped in the glamour of entrepreneurship, pitch decks, podcasts, social media followers. But real startup work isn't glamorous. It's debugging at 2 a.m., handling angry customers with grace, stretching $1,000 across 5 problems, making 20 cold calls that all end in rejection, then doing it again tomorrow. Execution eats ideas for breakfast. You may have a brilliant concept, but if you can't outwork, outlearn, and outlast your competition, it won't matter. Amazon survived and thrived because its founders were obsessed with doing the work. Are you? 1.5 Embrace the constraints. Here's another truth. The garage wasn't just symbolic, it was a crucible. It forced Amazon to operate lean. Limited space. Limited money. Limited time. Those constraints, rather than being setbacks, were fuel. Bezos and his team learned to stretch every dollar. They built their desks out of cheap doors to save money. Today, door desks are still part of Amazon's culture to remind everyone of those roots. In a strange way, constraints are blessings. They force you to be resourceful, prioritize ruthlessly, move quickly, innovate out of necessity. Don't resent your small team. Don't wish away your limited capital. Use them to focus and forge resilience. Bezos didn't say, "We'll be great when we have more." He said, "Let's be great with what we've got." You must do the same. 6. Build the DNA early. From day one, Bezos focused on building a culture, not just a company. He wrote the first Amazon leadership principles, implemented weekly data tracking, and pushed for customer obsession long before it became a buzzword. Your startup's DNA is being written in its early days, in the garage, in the first 5 hires, in the first hard choices. Ask yourself, are we moving fast enough? Are we measuring what matters? Are we putting customers first? Are we building for the long term? If the answer is no, start now. Culture doesn't come later. Culture is your product too. 7. The garage is a metaphor. Of course, most startups today aren't literally built in garages. But the garage stands for something far more powerful. It represents starting where you are, building with what you have, believing before others do, focusing on value, not vanity. The garage is not a limitation. It's a declaration. It says we are willing to begin before we are ready. We are willing to try before we are guaranteed. We are willing to build before we are believed. That mindset, it's priceless. And it's what separates dreamers from doers. Conclusion: begin before you're ready. When you read the Everything Store, it's easy to be overwhelmed by what Amazon became, a trillion-dollar company with global reach. But don't forget how it started. A young man, a list of 20 product ideas, a belief in the internet's potential, and a garage in Seattle. That's where greatness begins. So to every founder listening, you don't need a co-founder with a VC resume. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need permission. You just need to start. Start with the tools you have. Start with the space you have. Start with a vision you can't shake. Let your garage be your forge. Let your fear be your fire. Let your beginning be bold. Because every empire was once a startup. And every startup was once a garage. Chapter 2. The Day One Philosophy. Staying hungry, staying fearless. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, often said something that puzzled many. It's still day one. At first glance, it sounds simple, even obvious. But for Bezos, this wasn't a catchy slogan. It was the heart of his philosophy, a mindset that built one of the most powerful companies the world has ever seen. This chapter is about that philosophy. More importantly, it's about why you, as a startup founder or dreamer, must adopt the day one mindset as your own if you want to build something that lasts. What is day one? Day one is not a literal day. It's a way of thinking. It's the feeling you had the moment you first had the idea. It's the energy of your first pitch, the fear of your first launch, the rush of your first sale. It's the urgency, the obsession, the refusal to fail. Bezos believed that the minute a company stops thinking like it's day one, it begins to die. He warned that day two was the beginning of the end. A slow, creeping death that begins with comfort, continues through stagnation, and ends in irrelevance. And so, at Amazon, one of the biggest, most successful companies in the world, it was always day one. As a startup founder, this mindset is not optional. It's not a luxury. It is your most powerful weapon. The day one mindset will keep you lean, bold, and alive in a world that's trying to bury you in comfort and delay. Why most startups lose the day one mindset? Most startups begin with fire, with courage, with hunger. But over time, that fire fades. Maybe you raised a small round and feel a bit too comfortable. Maybe you hit product market fit and stopped listening to customers. Maybe you grew a team and now spend more time in meetings than in the work. Slowly, subtly, the startup shifts. The boldness fades. The speed slows. The fear disappears. And what replaces it? Routine, safety, inertia, the very things that kill innovation. Amazon was obsessed with never letting that happen. Bezos knew that even giants fall when they forget where they came from. That's why he made day one a religion. It wasn't just a motto, it was a warning. And for your startup, it should be the same. The pillars of day one thinking. To truly live in day one, you need to rebuild your habits, your team, and your thinking around 4 powerful principles. 1. Obsess over the customer. While most companies fixate on beating their competitors, Amazon obsessed over customers. That obsession wasn't casual, it was fanatical. Bezos once said, "Customers are always beautifully, wonderfully dissatisfied. No matter how good your product is, your customer wants more." Faster shipping. Better experience. Smoother UI, lower prices. More options. You can view that dissatisfaction as annoying, or you can treat it as your roadmap. Great startups listen harder than they speak. They pay attention to every complaint, every click, every moment of friction. They ship what customers need before they ask for it. Bezos didn't build Amazon by focusing on what Barnes & Noble was doing. He focused on delighting his customers. So should you. Call your users. Read their emails. Study their pain. Then move heaven and earth to fix it. That is day one. 2. Move fast and decisively. In the early days of Amazon, Bezos didn't wait for perfect clarity. He made fast, high-velocity decisions based on incomplete data. He called this the, quote, 70% rule. If you have 70% of the information you wish you had, make the call. Waiting for 100% means waiting forever. This mindset is oxygen for startups. You don't have the time or money to wait. Every day matters. Speed compounds. Every quick experiment adds momentum. Every decision you avoid slows you down. Make decisions. Ship features. Launch experiments. Fail quickly. Learn loudly. Then do it all again. That's day 1. 3. Ride the waves of change. Amazon didn't become a tech powerhouse by doing what everyone else was doing. They moved ahead of the curve, betting on trends like cloud computing, AWS, voice, Alexa, and AI long before others did. Bezos warned that if you ignore or resist external trends, the world will eventually make you irrelevant. Startups thrive on change. Trends are not your enemy. They are your ticket to outpace the giants. So keep your eyes open. Watch where the world is heading. Study emerging tech. Think 5 years ahead. The companies that survive are the ones that evolve. Don't cling to the past. Ride the future. 4. Never settle. Day 1 means you are never finished. No matter how good your product is, it can be better. No matter how smooth your funnel is, it can be faster. No matter how strong your growth is, it can be sharper. This is not about perfectionism. It's about never assuming you've arrived. When Amazon was the king of online books, they moved into electronics, then cloud services, then groceries, then entertainment, then healthcare. They didn't wait to be disrupted. They disrupted themselves. Your startup must do the same. Be willing to reinvent. Willing to kill your best ideas. Willing to pivot even when things are working. Because working doesn't mean winning. It just means you're still in the game. Staying in day 1, it's a daily battle. Let's be honest. Staying in day 1 is hard. It means waking up every day with the same hunger you had on launch day. It means asking uncomfortable questions. Are we still obsessed with our users? Are we moving fast enough? Are we embracing change or avoiding it? Day 1 is not a phase. It's a discipline. Build rituals to protect it. Start every week with a customer insight. End every week by reviewing what you shipped. Celebrate fast failures as learning. Challenge your team to think like builders, not managers. Make day 1 a muscle, not a memory. You are the keeper of day 1. As a founder, you are the cultural thermostat of your startup. If you become slow, the team becomes slower. If you lose urgency, the team relaxes. If you act like you've made it, the team will stop trying. Never forget. Your team takes their cues from you. Be the first one to answer customer calls. Be the one who says, "This isn't good enough yet." Be the one who pushes for one more experiment, one more test, one more idea. If you carry day 1 in your voice, your walk, your actions, your team will too. And that's how startups become empires. Closing thought. It's always day 1. Jeff Bezos ended every shareholder letter with the same 4 words. It's still day 1. Why? Because day 1 is when you dream bold, act fast, care deeply, and build relentlessly. You don't need $1 billion valuation to think like Amazon. You need conviction. You need urgency. You need humility. You need to believe that every morning is your chance to change everything. No matter how far you go, no matter how successful you become, keep your mind in day 1. That's how legends are built. Chapter 3. Obsess over the customer. The secret weapon of every great startup. When Jeff Bezos was once asked, "Who is Amazon's competition?" he gave a bold and unexpected answer. Our competition is our customers. We focus on them, not others. This was not just a clever soundbite. It was the foundation of everything Amazon did, and still does. While the rest of the business world looked outward, studying rivals, benchmarking competitors, copying trends, Bezos looked inward toward the customer. This chapter is about why your startup must do the same. and how customer obsession, when taken seriously, becomes the ultimate competitive advantage. Customer obsession versus customer focus. Every company claims to care about its customers. They write it in their mission statements. They put it on posters. But caring is not the same as obsessing. A customer-focused company listens to customers and serves them well. A customer-obsessed company builds its entire existence around customers. It doesn't just respond to needs, it anticipates them. It doesn't just serve, it delights. It doesn't just satisfy, it surprises. Amazon didn't just deliver books, they made delivery faster, easier, more trustworthy. Then they built Prime. Then one-click buying. Then same-day shipping. Each innovation was driven by a question: how can we make the customer's life even better? That mindset must live inside your startup from day one. Startups that win understand one truth. Here's the truth. Your customers don't care about your vision. They care about their pain. If you solve their problem better than anyone else, they'll stay. If you don't, they won't. It's that simple. The best founders know that listening is more powerful than pitching. They study customer behavior like scientists. They don't assume, they ask. They build products not for their ego, but for someone else's need. Jeff Bezos had this mantra: we are stubborn on vision, but flexible on details. Meaning, you know what you want to change in the world, but the how is guided by listening. Feedback, data, user behavior. In your startup, are you obsessing over the customer, or are you still obsessed with your own idea? The flywheel of trust. Bezos believed that trust was the glue between Amazon and its customers. If customers trusted Amazon, they would buy,